Alright, so it's Monday morning, you've spent all weekend in the mountains hiking, skiing, climbing. You wake up and you can barely move a muscle, you're stuck in bed because your muscles are so sore from the weekend. If that's the case with you, you've got to learn a couple things about recovery, which is what I'm going through in this video. So by the end of the video, you should have a checklist of things you can tick off that you can implement so you can start recovering better, faster, and get back out into the mountains doing what you love. Before I get into it though, there's a couple of things that I want to plug. Firstly, my Patreon page, which I've just started. I'm sharing some extra things that relate to this video in Patreon this week. So if you want to check that out, there is a link in the description. Other thing that I want to tell you about is Elements 2021. I've updated the program. If you've bought the program before, you're going to get it again. I'm giving the update away to you guys. I think it's far better. So I wanted to give everyone a chance to go through that again. Link in the description. Let's get into the video. So there's 5 things I'm going to be talking about in this video, and the first one happens before you even get out and do the training or do the activity, and that's warming up and cooling down properly. So if you warm up and cool down properly, you probably won't have to worry about any of these other 4 or 5 things to do. It's that important, really. When I had a gym back in Australia, we were a strength and conditioning gym Monday to Friday, and then on the weekends we'd go hiking. And every single hike that I took with these guys, I'd get them to warm up and cool down properly. A little bit later on though, I got a little bit lazy. Some of the hikes got bigger. They would take up 8 or 9 hours, and we didn't really have the time, or we didn't dedicate the time to warm up and cool down properly. And people really noticed the difference. They were a lot sorer on training on Monday. And it doesn't have to be a huge 10-15 minute warm up. 5 minutes just before you get started on your activity, and 5 minutes before you jump in the car and sit in the driver's seat for 2 hours on the way home. Some of you are probably familiar with the experience of barely being able to get out of the car after doing that, and warming up and cooling down will certainly help. Second thing that I want to talk about in this video for recovery, and that is breathing. One way to tell if your body's not recovering well is if you have shallow, rapid breathing where you are using your accessory breathing muscles up here at the top of your chest and your shoulders, and you're kind of taking those quick breaths rather than breathing diaphragmatically, deeply and slowly. That's a good indication that you're in flight or fight response. So that means your sympathetic nervous system, the one that's responsible for fight or flight or freeze, those reactions, are keeping you in that kind of agitated, oh my God, there's a bear attacking me state. What we need to go into is the parasympathetic nervous system, and we do that through slow, controlled, deep breathing and relaxation techniques. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, is that you don't get strong when you train, you get stronger when you rest. And if you're stuck in this agitated state, you know, looking at your phone all the time, stressed, anxious, it's going to be very difficult for your body to recover well. So that's why breathing techniques and learning to relax and learning to be calm is important, especially in this day and age where we're constantly distracted with mobile phones and screens and work and whatnot. So we're going to learn how to relax right now. Okay, so quick breathing lesson. Now I know what you're thinking, Hiko's chasing all these hippie breathing meditation bullshit. Skip this part of the video if you want to, but honestly this is where all the value is. Doing things you're uncomfortable with, exploring things you're not familiar with. Let's go through some breathing basics. So what I want you to do is take a huge big deep breath now, all the way in. So one thing you might notice is that when you take that big breath, you might have inflated the top of your chest and your shoulders get really tight. And that's what we call accessory breathing or upper chest breathing. So a lot of us tend to think of breathing from the yogic perspective as belly breathing, trying to expand the belly. Fact is, there's no lung tissue in the belly. We want to breathe to where the lung tissue is. So I'm going to show you here an image of what my chest looks like when I'm breathing deeply into my ribs. You'll see my rib cage expanding outwards and then squeezing and contracting the ribs as you exhale. It's important that when we breathe deeply, we don't breathe into the belly or to the upper chest. We breathe into the ribs, and the ribs will expand outwards if we're breathing with the diaphragm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 4 seconds breathing in, and immediately we're going to take 8 seconds breathing out. This is a really good way to naturally relax the body and to switch us over into the parasympathetic nervous system. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that 4-8 ratio I learned from Rockwood. He has a great TED talk and 2 other breathing techniques you should check out. I'll link it up here and in the description. So much like warming up and cooling down, being able to relax and breathe deeply and tap into your parasympathetic nervous system is another one of those precursors to getting good recovery. You can get your sleep and your nutrition and your hydration and everything else dialed in, but if you're not able to get out of that fight or flight response and into rest and digest, then you're simply not going to be optimizing your recovery and getting the most out of your training and your activities. At the same time, you could be spending all of your energy on cardiovascular training and training the musculoskeletal system to be fit and strong, forgetting that you also have a respiratory system, and that also needs to be trained and optimized as well, and we do that through breathing. So learn to breathe properly, learn to relax, and experience the benefits from recovering well by tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system and being able to chill properly and get the most out of your training. Point number 3 for optimizing your recovery is to avoid static stretching. Now, there is lots of different types of stretching. Static stretching means you're going deep into a stretch and you're holding that stretch for a fixed amount of time and then backing off and moving on to the next stretch, as opposed to dynamic movement, dynamic stretching, PNF stretching, as well as a multitude of other different styles of stretching. The reason why I recommend staying away from static stretching is because it can induce pain and discomfort and do damage to the body itself. You're actually tearing muscle fibers when you stretch, and that's another recovery process that the body has to go through, so you're better off not going into deep stretching and holding stretches. I would recommend much lighter flowing stretches within shorter ranges of motion, encouraging blood flow, synovial fluid, loosening up the body and feeling freer rather than going into a deep, tight stress that's going to be really stressful and again, probably going to put you back into fight or flight rather than rest and digest, where we want to be. And what you can do instead is my daily movement practice for hikers, linked up here in the top right hand corner. That's a 15 or so minute video that goes through dynamic stretching, gentle movement, and that's actually the perfect thing for you to do the day after having a big day in the mountains. So go and check that out if you haven't already. The other thing I like to do physically, other than dynamic stretching and movement, is to just take like a 20-minute brisk walk around the block. No backpack or anything, not like a lazy walk, not like a la 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 la, but like a brisk, power walk. Get the blood flowing. We want to push out some of that lactic acid. We want to get things flowing. We want to push that waste product out of the body. And if you do that, you're going to feel much better. You're going to be ready to go back into your training or get back into the mountains much quicker. The 4th recovery tip that I want to share with you is one that's already well known. You'll see it on every single list about recovery, and that is hydration. But I think it's even more important for mountain sports than it is for something like triathletes or runners. So when you're up in the mountains, we're in cold, dry air that only serves to dehydrate us more. You lose body fluids through sweating, through breathing. When you're at altitude, I don't know about you, but I tend to pee a lot more at altitudes. When I'm out in the mountains, especially when it's cold and I'm doing technical climbing or skiing, I don't drink anywhere near as much as I should. So I try and make up for that as soon as I finish by drinking a whole lot of water. I'm hesitant to talk about supplements for hydration because I just don't use any personally myself. I do use one, and that is magnesium. That is a magic cure. Again, magical science. That is one of my little magic cures for muscle soreness. I either have it in a powdered form, mix it with water. Right now I've just got magnesium tablets. So that's really my only supplement. Very simple, single mineral, taken tablet form. Works, very well supported by science. Definitely should be taking magnesium if you're doing heavy training and struggling to recover from the stuff that you do in the mountains. But I do have a little recovery endurance drink that I have sometimes when I'm actually out running, or I use it as a recovery supplement as well. And that's just water, chia seeds, lime, Himalayan salt, and agave syrup is the thing that I was forgetting. Mix that together, let the water absorb into the chia seeds a little bit, and that's a natural endurance drink. It'll keep you going forever, and I find it also helps me with recovery, so you might want to check that out as well. Fifth and final point for this recovery video is self-myofascial release or self-massage, any kind of actual tissue manipulation, and there's a bunch of different ways we can do that. My favorite way to do this is by a massage gun. I was always a bit skeptical of these until my client Cindy got one and she loved it. She started using it all the time and found it very helpful. Just realized it's kind of weird to be doing this in public. Around that time I was contacted by a company that said, hey, you want to test out one of these massage guns? I was like, okay, send me one. And now I have one. This one is from Nacot, and I'm kind of addicted to it. It is battery operated. You charge it by a USB, so you can bring it anywhere, tap of a button, and you've got a massage tool. Oh, but goddamn, it's good. I especially like using this on my cars because it's just heaven after spending a couple of days in the mountains. So that's one thing I've been using. Just makes myofascial release and tissue work a lot easier and a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. When you've got a gun to do most of the hard work, you can just hold it up to the tissue, put a little bit of pressure on it, and the gun does the rest of the work. I'm just much more likely to sit down and do tissue work when I've got that gun. Comes with a bunch of different little implements that can help you get into those little tight spots throughout your body. This is so useful as a mobility and massage and recovery tool. This little guy is a weapon, will absolutely mess you up. Thank you, Nacot, for sending that to me. I've been using it a lot. I would highly recommend you go and check it out. The link in the description. The other couple of things I do for self-myofascial release is, you guys know I'm big on foam rolling. If you're looking to get a foam roller, I would suggest getting the ones that are hollow through the middle, because they'll have that hard plastic kind of inner ring, and that's the one that I recommend using. I find the whole foam ones just a little bit too soft, but if you are a person who's really stiff and really sore, then by all means get the softer whole foam ones. I like my massage a little bit hard. And I think foam rolling really is something that you do need to learn. I actually have a foam rolling and mobility program. I'll put the link in the description. It's like $7. It's a bunch of follow-along videos where I go through the 3 main techniques that I use for massaging and foam rolling, as well as just some general information on what's actually happening within the tissue. We describe what a trigger point is and how to find them and how to treat them and how to loosen up a lot of this tight muscle in your body. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description. So to wrap up the video, we want to warm up and cool down properly. We want to breathe our way into the parasympathetic nervous system to rest and digest. We want to avoid static stretching and go instead for dynamic mobility drills. We want to drink loads of water, and we want to get into self-myofascial release and massage. Obviously, there's a bunch of other things that are important for recovery. We need to sleep well in order to be able to recover properly. We need to consider nutrition and eating well and having a good diet to help our recovery. There's also things like cold baths and cold therapy, cold showers and swimming in cold water. All of those things I've covered in other videos. You know, there's one really good video that no one watched at all. I don't know why, but it's my experience with the Wim Hof and cold breathing technique. So if you want to check out that video, I will leave it here. Go and watch it. Let me know what you think of it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me on Patreon if you haven't already. I will see you on the summit.